repetitive thing is really bothering me. Because, like, bro, that's one of the only reasons why I'm always late with your content. Is like you, Nick, Trump, you guys are so good at being a little repetitive, which is so good for sales because there's always new people watching in chat. So it's like that's how you grow. But I can't do it, bro. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do the repetitive thing. I don't like repetition, bro. I can't do it.
Well, I mean,
I can't do it.
That actually depicts the problem that Trump is having with this campaign right now. He's alienated his loyalists because he's trying to get new people so badly. So the original diehard supporters are getting jaded and tired.
Man. Bro, we spent a year saying and all sorts of slurs. And after they opened that free speech lane for you and me and everyone, everything else became boring. Like, if my candidate isn't calling me the F slur, bro, I don't want to watch this. Like, how boring is this? I miss Joe Biden.
What do you miss about Joe?
It was way funnier when it was Joe and Trump.
Mm-hmm.
This J.D. Vance is boring.
Yeah.
He's inoculated Trump.
I don't like J.D. Vance at all. There's nothing to like about him. Never Trumper.
As soon as the RNC happened, this wave of... I forgot he even got shot.
I know. He killed the momentum. I've never seen somebody fumble so much aura that quickly. Getting shot in the ear is...
like me. He's like me, bro. He's like a streamer that forgot how to stream.
He had peak. He was at the top, #1 on every single platform after getting shot. And then J.D. Vance instead of Vivek, which we could have got Hindu on Hindu violence, Vivek versus Kamala Harris. That could have been peak comedy, them going back and forth. No, you're the bad president. You're the good president. That would have been peak comedy. Instead, he picked J.D. Vance for some reason. And this guy was, he was a never Trumper in 2016, right?
Yeah. He called him.
Yep. He called him. And now he's the vice president. So there's no energy.
The never Trumpers I could forgive, but someone who was you're literally, I would never forgive someone like that.
Well, okay, this is historic regardless. We can't be like putting on MAGA hats every single day, screaming MAGA on the hotel balcony, and not listen to the guy being interviewed by Elon Musk, a presidential candidate on X right now. You can't not listen to that.
Dude, Stingo, it's not like I could sit and try and do it. There's two voices. One saying, you go play Flappy Birds or something like that. And the second voice is, Zherka, you're 30 and you don't have an adult attention span. This is scaring the hell out of me, bro. And when I started getting into your political content, I kept wondering, I'm like, I know I'm more intelligent than Sneeko by miles, but he's more intelligent because he can actually hold on to this political stuff. I can do for a few weeks and then I burn out. Dude, you could actually do this. I think you could actually talk Destiny every day and blah, blah, blah. You could get on Piers Morgan stuff. Bro, if I hear October 7th one more...
It's important to hear the repetition, though, because then they're exposing themselves. Maybe, okay, but we probably were just not talking enough and not unmuting it.
Okay, how in my head did I make Elon and Trump like a Goku and Vegeta thing, and it turned out to be boring? Like, bro, when I think of collabs that should be interesting without trying, this is one of them.
Yeah, this is peak.
There's something going on that I'm about to say, man. Something is making Kamala and the blue side a little more interesting this year. And our side is like, everyone's nerfed. Even Elon sounds nerfed. And Elon said, oh, Disney, I don't give a investors. And we forgot about that too. Like, he's boring too.
Boring too, yeah.
I find myself watching Kamala clips, and I hate them, but I watch her clips. The only thing I liked was the Trump and Aiden thing. Believe it or not, as much as people made fun of that, that real world, Trump talking to a child, I like seeing that.
It was interesting.
Whatever this is that we're doing on Twitter right now, and I think I got influenced too because I saw Arthur and everyone on Twitter say, this is boring, this is boring, this is boring. And these are like mature political types saying it. And when I saw 10 of those tweets, it got in my head, and I'm like, is it boring? Is it? And dude, I would rather not be bored I would rather go to World War III than be bored,
Jesus
dude.
Christ. Bro, you just want the chaos of World War III happen rather than have some stability. I mean, I get it. But he's making the same mistakes that he made in 2020. The reason, even though they rigged the election, the reason that he lost was because he was boring. He was just playing the classics. He wasn't doing anything new. How do you lose to Joe Biden? It should have been a sweep. You have to play dirty. But now he's become the swamp that he used to want to drain. Elon Musk should have been like the outsider, exciting guy. Also, let's be honest. If Susan Wojcicki, rest in peace, if she hosted a YouTube live stream with Kamala Harris, we would all shit on it nonstop. We would say that this is part of the establishment, that this should never happen. A CEO of a major company like this should not be able to host a presidential candidate on the biggest platform in the world. We would all call it out. Elon is doing the same thing on the right. And we're like, yeah, these are outside. Are they really outsiders at this point? We get these two people who position themselves as independent, whatever. They're sticking it up to the man and all this stuff. They're yapping about October 7th in a Twitter space, covering the same talking points that were said on Aiden Ross's stream.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like it feels like who's the realer candidate, XUC or Aiden Ross? Well, Aiden said there's two genders, so Aiden's more based than XUC. Therefore, Aiden is not establishment, and XUC is. But they're both watered down. Like they're not Nick Fuentes. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what's happening with the Trump and Kamala thing, where it's like, bro, they both feel bought out this year, especially. Bro, I thought I really can't stand JD, but did you see the photos? It's not a movement, bro.
I saw that.
He did drag twice
at Yale. I mean, Yale is
as a military guy, and
Yale is the home of the Skull and Bones Society. There's a lot of that. Everyone knows Yale is the hub of that game.
Bro, listen. I'm from a military family, so I hate to say this, but worldwide, internationally, and American military, as much as I love them, do you know how hard they go for that? Like, there's been documentaries made about satanic elites at the top of all military countries on earth. And it's not satanic like we're just labeling them. They actually do rituals and stuff, and they all do. And this blew me away. I hate to say this. Do you know how many are in the military? Like, J.D. Vance is not just one of them. And this perspective blew me away because this is a warrior perspective of, do you know how many MMA fighters there are in the UFC? Have you seen that conspiracy?
I mean, I see people talk about John Jones and Adesanya. I personally don't think so, but
well, I'm not talking about them personally. I'm saying there was a theory that 80% of fighters are hoes, and then fighters that were straight would laugh about that theory. And that's why I'm convinced JD Vance is actually, like, these military guys, there's a lot of them high ranking who are actually. And you'd never guess it because he's like a military guy. But I think JD, that drag wasn't for fun. I think he's actually like
it was a ritual.
Democrat.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's a Democrat.
He probably was a Democrat 10 years ago. And he made a giant mistake talking about Nick in that televised interview. I don't know why he would try to diss Nick Fuentes now. He made the same mistake once with Trump, and then he's going to hold, those words are going to bite him alive. Ever since he said, like, Trump is going to bite him forever. Now he's going to say Nick is going to bite him forever.
It's not biting him forever because this sounds crazy, but one in the chat, if you agree, it feels like Trump asks JD what to do. Does anyone else feel that energy?
Nah, he's been using the same talking points. We just expected after he got shot and said fight, fight, fight that he was going to be a rebel, and he just went right back to being establishment. Right? And it's not nothing to do with JD. JD's just a puppet, but he should not have mentioned Nick because now Nick has all the excuses to go and attack him nonstop, and everybody's going to see it. That was a giant mistake to name drop him.
Is JD really a puppet, or is he the actual president? Because, bro, I don't remember Trump talking to Pence like this. The way Trump talks to JD is, it's like he's whispering in his ear, "Are the Jews good with this? Can I do this?" And JD's like, "Yeah, you can do this." That's what it feels like.
Yeah, he's actually talked a lot about 10 times more since he got shot, since the JD Vance.
Yeah, no, he went from ignoring the whole conflict by talking about Ukraine to now it's the opposition is Palestinian. He called Joe Biden Palestinian.
Yeah, he used it like an insult, which is really we don't speak about that enough. Using Palestinian as an insult is I mean, at this point, like, what is there to really be a Trump supporter about? Like, we have this idea of what MAGA should be, and it's not. There's nothing to really align with anymore. We just heard what was being talked about there. The only good thing is that he's a white dude and he's not Indian Kamala. Like, that's it. He's not a woman. That's it. He's a man and not a woman. That's all he has going for him. Other than that, I can't give you one policy or anything I'm excited about. I mean, hopefully he does a good job geopolitically and he prevents World War III. But the way he's talking about Iran, I'm not. It could just be campaign moves, but I'm not enthusiastic about the way he's talking about Iran.
Yeah, I don't think he'll. I mean, if he, dude, you know, if we go into war with Iran, you and I, we will have been so like, bro, we were gonna burn in hell, you and I, because we have platforms.
We're gonna burn in hell if we go to war with Iran. Why? I just tweeted no war with Iran.
Because we're the MAGA guys. If Trump goes to that war, you and I are.
But I've been publicly speaking about the problems with the Trump campaign for a while. I mean, I do love the guy, and there's a lot of good things, but I've been very vocal about it. And is Kamala? Is Kamala really? Is she okay? But if say Kamala's elected, does that prevent war with Iran? Really?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, you're right. They're gonna do it.
What's the difference? It's just being involved in American politics. You know, there's nothing much. And now people are saying Mohammed Ajab was right, saying that he doesn't care if Trump lives or dies. When I heard him say that, I got offended. But listen, I mean, he called Biden a Palestinian. He's using October 7th like every other. You know, he's not like us. He really doesn't align with us whatsoever. And it just shows that, I mean, we keep saying it, Nick Fuentes is inevitable. This stuff in 2036 when he runs, it's not even comparable.
Yeah, I love Nick that he completely got aggressive after that Iran war tweet. That's what I love about Nick, is that he'll always go down in history as, you know how like the right's gonna make fun of him for going hard at Trump at a crucial moment like right now.
But at the same time, he points out like if he's really supportive of Trump, they're like, oh look, he's putting a stain on his campaign because a white supremacist is aligning with Trump.
Yeah, but you know, history is going to remember Nick as the guy who they're going to say, well, he was a never Trumper when he was with JD Vance and stuff like that. But not really, bro. Nick's whole attitude shifted after that Iran war tweet. And I'm like, I wonder if we should take that more serious. And, you know, Nick, he's the strategist, and he's convinced that Iran tweet is real, you know? So, man, could you imagine if you got conscripted for war?
I don't think that would ever happen. I don't think it would ever.
Because you have a big platform, right? You can get out of it.
No one would ever blame me for that. I've said positive things, and I've always said spoken.
You know, in a weird way, this is gonna sound really up, but I'm speaking to the deeper intellectual minds right now. In a weird way, a world war would give a lot of incels this new meaning to live, and as scared as they'd be, they would welcome it more than the insanity of staying home and doing nothing with their lives. So it is like the perfect climate to send like incels to war. But they are so soy boy now that it's like, could you imagine them at war?
Let's not speak that into existence. Let's not. There's no World War III. We definitely don't want to. But we got to keep traveling before that happens. Man, we got to enjoy this world.
But isn't there something? Wouldn't there be something also beautiful if it was inevitable? I'm not speaking into existence, but let's say I go and I never gotta wake up and do content and shit again because I got shot in the face.
Why are you smiling like you're kind of a masochist? Man.
You're smiling inside too. We men love that dying in war instead of like from old age. We love that shit, right? Like we don't love it when we're there. We're like, oh, where's Pinky Doggy, nigga? But like, could you imagine if we died for something instead of bro, Stiko, you and I, out of all the chatters here, for us growing old is the worst because we have like a bit of the clout and stuff. So we don't grow old just like as a regular old man. We grow old and bitter that our lives used to be like this and more fast paced and blah, blah, blah. Like in our 70s, we're going to look way worse than our chatters. Our chatters have very simple kind of like...
No, I got Asian black genetics. I'm not going to age. I'm not going to crack.
Stingo, be honest. You and I are more irritable. You, me, and Nick are more irritable and Myron than 100,000 chatters who are in our chat. Because, the influencers are usually... But we were never this irritable when we started streaming.
I'm not irritable. I'm in a good mood. I just woke up. That's why.
Bro, I can't even have a dinner with you influencers without... Bro, I have to remind myself to smile when I'm around you influencers because I'm like, we're all very irritable. When you go and ask anyone who chills with an influencer, bro, it's like everything has to be perfect or I'm not going outside anymore and stuff like that. That irritability actually grows over time. So by the time you're 60 years old, you're going to be way more unhappy and cranky because we're used to everyone doing things for us, like volunteer work and a bunch of people helping us out and shit. And so if something goes wrong around us, we're too pampered, bro. That's why we need a war.
Speaking of, if you want a war, tweet something about GodPill right now, and it's going to get a lot of energy. Nick just tweeted at me, or at Sneako Updates, and said, GodPill War 2, W Sneak, or something like that, like 2 minutes ago. What do you say? Link this. Yeah,
I always ask Nick, I'm like, what else do you need help with and stuff? You don't use me. And you barely use me. You don't tell me what to do. Like, he's genuine. He's like, tweet what you want, right? And he's like, no, your tweets are great. You do great. And I'm like, bro, Nick, we're literally asking. My team is asking, what tweets do you want to push and stuff like that. Like, but I guess he wants us to just like and retweet us because, man, I keep thinking the coolest part about becoming like 40 years old is imagine when Nick is actually in office because his competition is very low IQ. Like, think about his generation when they're politicians.
It's not even close. The main opposition was Mr. Beast. Remember when Mr. Beast announced that he wanted to run for president? And he's the same age as me and Nick. He's 25. He said that he wants to run soon, and he's talking about, like, uniting everyone, and then he gets exposed for Chris and all this stuff. All these rats come out of the woodwork and try to cancel him, all this. And I was thinking, like, who has a better chance? And at that time, Mr. Beast probably did. More popularity, global superstar.
Let me save you some energy, bro. Mr. Beast is not getting canceled. He's not going away anytime soon.
So who wins? 2036, Nick versus Jimmy Donaldson. Who wins?
I'm a conspiracy guy, so I have to always go with money. But think about by then, the Knicks movement will
movement's going to be, it's going to keep on growing.
Yeah.
Like, Mr. Beast is going to go in and fight against just hundreds of thousands of angry white dudes, and coming in as a white dude, he's not going to be able to say white power. He's going to be boxed in. He'll play the card. He'll have money. He can invest in the campaign. Worldwide, he's loved, all this stuff. But going against a movement like that is difficult.
I still remember when I started watching Nick. He was at such low viewers, like 1,000. And I said, if he makes it through getting I predicted he'd be deplatformed off everything. I'm like, if he makes it, I said to that if he makes it through getting deplatformed off everything and is still relevant, let alone mainstream relevant with Kanye, right? If he does that, then he guarantees he's president because a human cannot overcome social media censorship. Once you're out, you're out. We've seen it.
Hey, what's going on?
No, you.
Hey, yo, bitch.
You didn't get that censored.
What are you talking about?
I mean, like, bro, there was never a D-Live sneak. Well, I guess Rumble was nothing back then, right?
Rumble was D-Live when I started. when I started on Rumble 2 years ago.
Are you saying you made the only possible explanation, if you want Nick's claim to fame, is that you made Rumble?
I didn't make Rumble, but for Gen Z, like, everybody accredits me for making Gen Z know about Rumble. Let's be fair. When I first joined this website, I don't want to take credit.
Be president.
Hold on.
You and I don't have the attention spans to be president, bro.
That's not my point. That's not my point. But I'm saying, I can definitely take credit for being canceled and still be able to survive. Do you remember my Rumble? Remember when you first came to my Rumble stream? The website was like Reddit in 2006. This website
I still remember saying, wow, Sneako's a famous kid. I went to his room with Arab and Yassine. I've never seen a slower chat in my life. I remember thinking that. Yeah, it was frozen.
Rumble's chat is so slow.
We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after you.
Okay, he's still going. Let's hear a little more.
No, it has a branding.
Let's hear a bit more.
You know, when you see what happened.
It doesn't have a branding problem.
When you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that?
Okay, you're muting. Oh, you left. We're not going to listen. We're not going to listen.
No. I'm just listening. I'm listening because
No, he's not. You're watching Dragon Ball Z. Chad, is it worth listening to? What?
And then I'll come back. I'll come back.
Okay, no, just let's listen to 30 seconds. 30 seconds to catch up on the conversation, so we could stay in the loop while this is live. Okay, it's the name of the stream and everything.
Dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. And I donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant. And
Yeah, but you haven't
because
been
the
feeling
dangerous
so
is-
well lately, and I'm worried about it.
No, but I mean,
I'm only
it's
kidding. I'm
fine, you know. It's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
Right,
it's
well, that's
really
great.
not
That's
something that
That's great.
So it's not as scary as people think, basically.
They're
But,
real, bro.
What'd you say?
Nuclear warheads are not even real. Go look at that conspiracy.
What is that supposed to make us think, that a man has the power of God, that he could destroy the whole world?
No, if you look at the blast radius, no human actually believes nukes are real. Like it's just a fireball can wipe out Manhattan. But if you look at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they were firebombed before they were nuked. That's what destroyed the cities, not the nuke. Then when they got nuked, they said, "Oh, it's gonna be radiation and blah blah blah." But they're hustling and bustling cities. They lied that people got all this radiation poisoning and stuff. Bro, these are the biggest cities out there, man. And go look at the nuke town propaganda, where the nuke wipes out the fake built town, but it can't blow away the camera. And idiots were writing, because the camera zoomed in. But it would. Do you know how big the blast radius is? That's impossible. And it wasn't zoomed in. They even say it. Go look at all nuclear tests. They say that they put a bunch of dynamite undersea to make one of the underwater nukes for the footage. And the more you look into nukes, the more like nuclear energy, yeah, they fight for it and stuff, but nukes, like splitting an atom can make a fireball that wipes out Manhattan. Bro, I can't believe I used to buy into this war propaganda, bro. When they say, hey, we're going to nuke a nation, and they scare a nation, what they're really saying is they're going to bomb out of it. They're not saying one bomb can wipe out fucking Manhattan. No human actually believes in that blast radius. It's ridiculous. It's never been shown on camera or anything. It's so stupid. And this is the biggest no-no in politics. If you say this in politics, you're out. Yeah,
So then how nervous are you really for World War III?
Very nervous, because it means they come into our backyard and shoot us.
Okay, let's listen to a little bit of the space. Maybe Trump's going to say something embarrassing. We farm a clip. We're not going to farm a clip talk about nuclear warheads. Can you try? Because even my editors are calling you lazy.
Okay.
Okay, fine. We're going to farm one clip.
It's great.
well, he's clearly not, I mean, it's clearly like we just don't have a president. Right?
You don't have a president, and
Okay.
he's going to be worse than him, because he is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San Francisco, and then as Attorney General, she destroyed California. You're
Talk about
talking about
Kamala's VP.
location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. What she has done to
Wait, my food is
California is, well, you know better than I do. You just left California for a lot of those.
Guy, man.
And what she's done with crime, with cashless bail, where you kill somebody. I mean, we have states that you kill somebody and they let you out right away. I mean, you don't have to even put up, and then they never find the people unless they kill again, and then they let them out again. Our country is becoming a very dangerous place, and she is a radical left San Francisco liberal, and now she's trying to protect. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible, but she wants to be more
back
Trump
yet?
than Trump.
Yeah.
I want a wall.
I think that's,
You know,
Yeah.
she wants to release all the
Yeah.
prisoners that are in detention, and some of these guys are really bad.
Right.
That just came
Yeah, I
out
saw
today.
that.
She doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls and wheels. You know, in your business, everything you do is obsolete. Almost, well, not the tunnels, but everything is obsolete. Even your rocket ships, they're like a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And the wall, you know, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and that's why we had such good numbers.
Yeah.
I was going to add 200
Yeah.
miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks, and they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant, I said, wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders. She wants to have open borders, and now she's going like she's tough on the border. It's such a lie.
Yeah, this is simply not true. This is simply not
No, and
true.
everybody knows
simply
it's not true. It's a disgrace that she
Yeah.
can say it.
No, I mean, obviously,
Are we back, Chad? Are we back? Are we back? Are we back? Are we back? Tell me we're back. Are we good? Refresh. Okay. Just type ones over back. Okay. How Elon's on space talking to Trump. Stop sharing the space on Discord. I'm not. Trump right now. Not really though. Like this is what we want. We think he's this, but he's not at all.
I mean, I'm sorry. What do you feel in terms of like excitement about the performances?
Yeah, Elon is stuttering and gushing and gasping like it's his idol. Like this should not happen on a platform where he's the CEO. Think about the hate that Mark Zuckerberg would get doing this with Kamala Harris. The hate that Susan Wojcicki Recipes would do this would get if she was on YouTube. Any other major platform where the CEO is publicly endorsing a presidential candidate, it would be a shitstorm. The news would be all over it. People would say that should be banned. And if X is really a free speech platform, the CEO should not be publicly glazing a nominee like this. It's embarrassing. I like Elon, like Trump, but this is not a good look overall. He's not going to ask him any hardball questions. It's just a glaze fest. It's just one big glaze fest. Oh, he's back. You got your food? Oh, look at him, man.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm
with.
so.
And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree.
Hey, I'm Spiegel, and I am not approving of Trump.
And we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history and make it sound like Kamala's moderate when she, in fact, is not moderate.
Well, her running mate approved, signed into legislation, tampons in boys' bathrooms. Okay.
Oh, here we go. Two
Now,
genders.
that's all I have
Two
to
genders,
say.
Orko.
Tampons in boys'
Yeah.
bathrooms. And that means
7
people
years
live
of
in that
two-gender
too.
talk.
I mean,
Yeah, that's
she
not
picked
okay.
this guy because he was the closest to her. A lot of people thought she'd pick sort of the opposite, but she picked an anti-Israel radical left person. But she is
Anti-Israel radical
far
left?
worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have her as a president, if we have a Democrat at this moment as a president, I don't think our country can survive.
I
He's
think-
really going hard with the... It's not subtle at all. It's very, very, very public.
Frankly, with the Kamala administration, and that's my honest opinion. And I think really it's essential that you win for the good of the country for this election. And I mean, I'm just stating my opinion. Now, you know, you may have seen this, but I got a letter from the EU Commission, like saying, you know, to not have disinformation on during this discussion that we're having, and you know, there's a lot of attempts to do censorship and to force censorship even on Americans from other countries, and you know, what do you think about that?
Well, I know the European Union very well. They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know. We, through a different form, NATO, we protect them. And yet, if you build a car in the United States, you can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible. The same thing with our farmers. Our farmers find it very difficult to do business. You know, we have a deficit with them of $250 billion.
Billion.
Which people don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're not as tough as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. And that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them, you know, with Ukraine. So we're in for 250 billion, and they're in for about 71 billion, and they have the same size. If you add up the European nations that, you know, in terms of an economy, it's about the same size when you say as us. And they're in, and they're in much greater risk. They're right there. We have an ocean separating us from, in this case, the enemy would be Russia. Used to be for the Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough. And what happens is they're in for 70-something million. I think even less than that. Billion. And we're in for about 250 billion, and it could be a lot higher than that. And I say, why aren't you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more, you know, it's much more important for them because of the fact that, you know, they're right near there. I mean, they were all sort of in that location. We're not. But they should, and I did it with NATO. There were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 28 at the time. And the United States the United States was subsidizing NATO, tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I said, I went in and I said, you got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer. I took a lot of heat, but you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in. And you know,
I think
relax.
A lot of the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of the NATO expenses.
And then we get taken advantage of on trade. So think about it.
Well, I mean, the point of NATO
Think about
is
this.
in Europe, and it's, you know, it's like, then, okay, well, why is the United States paying disproportionately more to defend Europe than Europe? That doesn't make sense. That's unfair. And that is an appropriate thing to address.
Well, you know, when you talk about cost cutting and savings and everything else, I mean, honestly, look, there's nobody that feels worse about the Ukraine situation than I do, because I know it would have never happened. I know Zelensky, he was very honorable to me, because when they went with the Russia hoax and they said I had a phone call with him, he said it was a perfect phone call. It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and, you know, said, oh, he was very threatening. He said, no, it was a very nice phone call.
He's never going to say the word
Call him up to
Palestine besides insulting
congratulate him on
Biden.
his win, and you end up getting impeached because these people are lunatics. You know, I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. In many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country than the Russians and the Chinas. If you have a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
Yeah.
Now, they've taken advantage of us
absolutely.
incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech, because during your first term as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly with false attacks, and you didn't try to shut down the media. You didn't try to inhibit their freedom of speech, and I think that says a lot.
Well, the good thing is that you and I have, and some people, very few, we can get the word out. Although sometimes it's hard because they don't want to print it, you know, like we're having a great conversation right now. Kamala wouldn't have this conversation. She can't, because she's not smart. You know, she's not a smart person, by the way. She can't have this conversation. And Biden, we don't even have to talk about it. I mean, he couldn't have this conversation.
Why is he talking about Biden still?
He would have walked out. He would have said, where am I? Where am I going? So anyway, but no, he was.
It's not even funny anymore.
Not a lot of people would.
It used to be funny.
But you know, we cover a lot of territory. But the beauty is that you know, we can have a conversation, and I'm able to get it out without, because I get treated unfairly.
This is a really big point. You can actually have a conversation with you.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
And you can't have a conversation with Biden.
Biden's slow.
So this is like
Biden's dementia.
It's just impossible.
Well, but think of it. We need a man or person who's unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the nuclear danger and all the dangers that I'm talking about. And I got along with all these. I got along with Kim Jong-un. We had dinner, we had everything, and he really liked me, and I got along with him really well. By the way, he's the absolute boss over there. A lot of people said, "Oh, do you think he will?"
Yeah, that's for sure.
Let me tell you, I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss. But we had a good relationship, and he doesn't like Biden. He considers him a stupid man. He said he's a stupid man. Well, at least he speaks his mind. But in this country, you're not sort of allowed to say it. But I guess you are. You should be allowed to say it.
Yeah.
It's true. But we need smart people, and we need people that have an ability to lead. And she doesn't have that ability. Can you imagine? Now, Chairman Xi very well. Can you imagine her and him negotiating? Or it's like, you don't have that today because the people, they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running our, the Biden thing is very interesting. People just found him to be incompetent. And when I debated him, I was like, is this for real? It was.
Yeah. It's just,
when is the Kamala Trump
absurd.
debate?
But, I think there are some ground.
Do you know, Zherka?
That we could do. I mean, I think
He's eating McDonald's.
We could build a base on the moon. We could send
September.
American astronauts to Mars. We
Right.
could build high-speed connections that are more advanced than anything else in the world between our cities, so people have fast transport. It's possible to solve traffic with tunnels.
Right.
We've already made great progress in Vegas doing that.
This guy stutters like a mother.
And just do things that are exciting and inspiring to make the future feel like it's better than the past.
Well, I saw what you did in Vegas, and I'll tell you, it was amazing. I got to see, I took a big glimpse at it, and it's incredible what it's incredible.
Can they talk about
all over? You could do that all over.
what are they going to talk about? How Trump pushed the.
Yeah.
You don't even need much structure, assuming you're in the right area.
No, it's straightforward.
It's amazing.
I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high-speed rail between its cities, but I think it's actually possible with tunnels if with deregulation, with an ability to actually where it's like legal to actually do the tunnels. They could have high-speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world for high-speed transport between cities, and that would be something that Americans can say, "Wow, okay, we've got something that's cooler than anyone else in the world." That's the kind of thing that makes you proud to be an American.
And much safer than surface, and much safer, much better. And it's sad because I've seen some of the greatest trains. I find it fascinating. And I've seen the systems and how they work, and the bullet trains, they call them, I guess. And they go unbelievably fast, unbelievably comfortable, with no problems. And we don't have anything like that in this country, not even close. And it doesn't make sense that we don't. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think also there's, I'm kind of hopping on the excess regulation, but I think something that I think people can generally understand is that what happens with laws and regulations is that there's more and more of them every year, and unless there's a process to clean them up, eventually everything becomes illegal, and that actually it slows down the development of new technologies. I mean, if you take the sort of I think there's room for some reform at the FDA for improving the speed with which we approve drugs that could help save lives and improve people's lives. And
I worked very hard on that. We got that down to the lowest number ever, and we got therapeutics approved in the FDA that people can't even believe the speed. But I took them on. I don't think they like me too much, but I got things approved in the FDA at numbers that they wouldn't believe. And it's a very bureaucratic group. Actually, it's a fine group of people in many cases. I got to know a lot of them, but I was pushing them really hard for Regeneron, for so many different things that were really pretty amazing. But the FDA Takes too long.
It seems like it's wrapping up.
It's 12
One more
years to
talking
get
point.
a product approved. I got it down to 4, and I got some things done very quickly, but it's really something that is going to have to be worked on because it takes too long. Just takes too long.
Yeah, it just takes too long, and it's you end up in the same with the approval, but it's just it takes years instead of something that I think could potentially take months, that improves people's lives. I think I just wanted to hop on this point that there has to be an active process for reducing rules and regulations, because otherwise they just keep building up every year, and you get like hardening of the arteries, and eventually everything's illegal or takes forever, and then we just ossify as a society. We can't make any progress, and it's a really big deal.
Well, Elon, just getting back to the FDA for 1 second, I got something done called Right to Try. This is where you can go in, and if you're terminally ill, you can use a space age, medicine or whatever it may be. We have the best doctors, the best labs in the world. We really do. But people would go to other countries because you couldn't use the product. All
right, yeah. I'm turning it off. All right, you can breathe now. Did you eat?
No, bro, now I'm invested. Keep going. What the?
Now you're invested?
Yeah. Go back. Go back. They started talking.
Chad, what he really means is he's too tired to give energy to talk, so he just wants to let the space carry. Okay, I'm opening it.
No, bro, we gotta finish it. It's getting somewhere. They're talking.
All right, damn, man. Then now you say that, this is what we should be doing. All right, cool. Because
I found my focus.
Did you? Okay, hold on. Chad, how's the lag?
We're gonna do both of them.
Yeah.
No, I can't hear.
Hold up. It's
Go fix it, you.
No, they're so mad, bro.
If a drug is approved in Europe, which has a crazy amount of regulations, it should obviously be approved in the U.S. Yeah. I mean, they have more regulations than we do. So why would a drug be approved in Europe and not in the U.S.? That's crazy.
Well, we did it. We did something that really, they've been trying to do it for 50 years, and they just couldn't get it done, and I got it done. And it's really something. But you're right. Some people go to Europe because a drug isn't approved here, but it's approved in Europe, and it's a drug that, generally speaking, would work. It's pretty crazy.
Absolutely.
You're right.
And I think so, as long as people are properly informed of the pros and cons, and like these are the risks, this is the risk, and like you make your own decision. That makes sense.
Well, I think just in sort of closing up, and by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You get a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get nervous, because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. What is the number? Wow. What is it?
Well,
wow.
I think in terms of people
that's bigger than you said. You said 25, and you're much more than double that number, 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70. And I guess over a period of time, hey, I congratulate you. Do I get paid for this or not?
I congratulate you on giving you the biggest space.
I think actually, in terms of the number of people that will hear this conversation over the next few days to weeks, it's going to be hundreds.
That's what they say. Yeah, that's good. Well, look, it's an honor. I just asked this: are you better off now, or were you better off when I was president? Nobody's better off now. People, we put out polls on that, and nobody's better off now. Inflation has killed it. And they also feel very unsafe. You look at what's going on with a lot of different things. You look at the riots we had at the colleges it's ridiculous, but all of the riots, they just feel unsafe. And now they really feel unsafe because you have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. Maybe I'll call it Kamala migrant crime. But
with all these things, I always try to get to the ground.
It's still Biden's ghost.
People. And my mom lives in New York, and I was like, Mom, have any of your friends, been attacked or assaulted? And she said, yeah, 3 of her friends in 3 separate incidents were assaulted just in recent months, just walking around the streets of New York. And I said, well, what happened to the people that sold them? Oh, nothing. They got away. Like, and they just know
They always get away.
that nothing's going. And they don't even bother reporting it because there's not. They know that there's not. They're not going to. You know, people are not going to get prosecuted. They just let, you know, violent criminals out in New York.
The one that
Zero
gets
bail.
prosecuted is Donald Trump. They prosecute Trump.
Yeah, I mean it's just obviously messed up.
Oh, it's terrible.
If violent criminals are being getting off scot free, and meanwhile that the you know, New York spending massive resources prosecuting you, and it's like what's this, you know, and I think the sort of sensible public looks at this and says, well, what the heck's going on here? This is obviously abuse of the legal system. You know, the legal system is supposed to be protecting the public from violent criminals, and it should be obviously allowing the public to make their own decision about who should be president, as opposed to, you know, some you know, legal case.
Once they start this precedent, because this can go on with the next one, I mean, this is a very bad precedent what they're doing in terms of, you know, going after their political opponent. And that's all it is. It's going after their political opponent. And then you get a judge who's, you know, a strong Democrat, and I'm being nice when I say that, in many cases crooked as hell. But you get a judge and you go into an area where a Republican gets 3 or 4% of the vote, and, you know, you'll have a jury pool with people that hate Republicans or hate, it could also be the other way,
Of course.
because it could start the other way in areas where they hate Democrats.
Exactly.
And you get into a Pandora's box. It's a very dangerous thing for this country, and a very dangerous thing even for the state. New York City is losing, New York City and state lose a lot of business over what they did to me, because these people say, we don't want that to happen to us. That's no justice system. You have an unfair system of justice, and it's costing New York State a tremendous amount of money. People are leaving and companies are leaving, and they won't come back. So, you know, all of that stuff is important, but the economy now is the big thing, and we can turn that economy up so fast, and people are going to be back again. We're going to get rid of inflation.
I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Right,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So,
and I just want
I
I want to
think,
congratulate you. You've done an amazing job. You have definitely got a fertile mind. You know, we can talk. You and I can talk about rockets.
let's see, it's time for you to say thank you.
Tunnels. We can talk about tunnels and rockets and electric cars. So many things. And now you're into the AI, and that's going to be another beauty, I'll say. So it's an amazing thing you've done, Elon.